everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel Introduction to Firewall. In this course we are going to learn how the TCP table allow our traffic to flow from the network we trust to the network we don't trust and back again. We are going to understand how we use a net, especially source net, to connect the private network to the internet, and we are going to understand the word DMZ and why we use it, and by the end of this course you will be solid understanding of the future that make you stateful firewall operator. Before beginning the course, you should be familiar with basic network functionality, including IP address and IP network, TCP operation including the TCP3 handshake, port number, basic understanding of the packet encapsulation. So let's we can start for the firewall introduction. What is firewall? Firewall is a network security system that monitors and controls incoming and outgoing network traffic based on the predefined security rules. A firewall is a typically established barrier between trusted internal network and untrusted external network, such as the internet. As we move into a firewall building into the Windows system, as well as there is a firewall built in the most of home routers, and then of course as we are moved to the enterprise, we are moved to the enterprise. We have normally multiple firewalls, often and very high end equipment to protecting the various system within networks. So I have said the firewalls really are a fundamental security control device. Here is what we will cover in this module. We will cover in this module the why we need a firewall types, main the firewall capabilities, packet filtering firewalls, what is the firewall doing, what is the zones and policy, and what is the expected behavior of firewall, and also we are going to discuss the TCP state table and how it's work. Let's start off. Why do we need the firewalls? Let's start with this topic. We need a firewall to help us protect us from some of nefarious activity, means malicious activity or network attacks that are happening on the internet. However, the firewall in modern security is only one piece of security system, and really what we are offered here is we are trying to avoid the threats from entering into our network, and we are also trying to detect when the threats enter into our network. Next topic is firewall types. There is a network firewall as well as a host-based firewall. So network-based firewall control the traffic coming into networks, and it also control the traffic leaving the network. And same as for the host means system. A host-based firewall control the traffic coming into the particular host, say like server system, and it's also control the traffic leaving the host. So really the firewall is designed to do the same thing but at a different levels. So now our the next topic is common firewall capabilities. Now firewall capabilities, it will be depend on the specific solution selected. Now you might be aware of the OSI layer as well as the TCP layer. When we are talking about the OSI 7 layer, we have a layer 4. It is a transport layer, and it's deal with the thing like TCP UDP mechanism. So when we have a firewall that's called layer 4 firewall, it's a really packet filtering firewall. That's mean that it can examine the packet header. Packet headers are used to control the details about the protocols that being sent, and of course the addressing information of source port, source and destination. So the protocol type, for example, might be ICMP. So when might be look a specific or a ping reply packets to either allow or deny. We can do that with the layer 4 packet filtering firewall. Of course, we could also examining the other packet header look like source, destination IP, v4 address, IPv6 address. We might also examining the source and destination port numbers, and to determine the network services that transmiss is going to or coming from either allow it or deny it. Now OSI is layer 7 is application layer, so it is the part of it, so to speak. It's got a more sophistication. So beside just packet filtering based on header, it can actually filter based on content with packet payload. So this is called the deep packet inspection. So we can certainly examining the packet filter like layer 4 firewall, but the payload is actual data that's being carried within the transmission, and it will contain the details like a specific HTTP request information or the actual data being transmitted. So the packet payload, so layer 7 can do what layer 4 firewall can do and much more. Next topic is the packet filtering firewall. It is the very interesting topic for the network security engineer. Knowledge of the OSI model is important when we are talking about the IT networking, and especially with the security. So that so when we say we have a layer 4 firewall, it's understood that that is a packet filtering firewall. So packet filtering firewall examining the packet header. You kind of think of packet headers as being a metadata for the actual data being transmitted, because the header containing the addressing information for the source and target, as well as the descriptive information about the protocol type and so on. So this would be a header like IP packet header, TCP header, UDP header, depending on the what's being transmitted. Protocol types such as the ICMP type 8 packets can be examining, and decision can be made as the whether or not traffic is allowed and denied. Now ICMP packet are echo requests. So whenever we are ping the command for the whenever we apply the ping for remote host to verify it is available or not. So we can also base packet filtering rule on source address for many types of, including the hardware address means MAC address. So built-in network interface, the IPv4 address, IPv6 address, as well as the port address. Now now where the MAC address identifies the network interface can't be changed. The IPv4 and IPv6 addresses are software-based address, so which identify the software, and port address is identify the service on the host. So when we say that about the MAC address can't be changed, there are always tools that allow to forge those type of things, but generally speaking, MAC address is fixed. We have the same type of address available as the destination address. Means MAC address is available for source address as well as the destination address. And remember, for example, if we are talking about the IP header, we have a source address as well as the destination IP address. All aspect of the packet can be forged, not just the MAC address, but source address, the payloads, or the data part of the packet, and so on. So we always have to take with this grain of salt. Inbound and outbound traffic comes through a specific interface, and when we built our packet filtering rule set, we can we can take a look at the where the network is origin from. Did it come into the firewall, or we are talking about the traffic going out, and rules can be applied accordingly. So this subject means this topic is very important for the as the firewall's perspective, because it's contained about the headers, TCP, UDP, protocol type, source address, destination address. Remember, the entire packets are easily forged inbound, outbound through a specific network. These are the very important topic for the packet filtering. So all the packet filtering depend on this object. Next topic is the packet filtering firewall types. This is the most interesting topic for a network security engineer, and it's most asking question during the interview for network security engineer. What is the stateless firewall, or what is the stateful firewall, and what is the difference between stateless firewall and stateful firewall? So let's we have talk about the stateless firewall. Stateless packet filtering firewall means that each packet is treated as an independent communication connection. So therefore, stateless means that the firewall is unaware of the established session. Now, established session goes through the handshake process, such as the TCP three-way handshake, and then after that we have a session transmission with that session. But the stateless firewall does not understand that. It can look at the session and allow other subsequent traffic to be the part of that session and to be allowed in. It treats every packet individually. Now let's talk about the stateful firewall. Stateful firewall is the opposite, because it's aware of the established sessions, such as those established through the TCP way handshake. So because of this, then the stateful packet filtering firewall would be able to look and let's say it incoming packet going through the firewall and examining its current state, means on which time TCP session was open, closed and synchronized. Now we have already gone through established session between host, and yet we are receiving another session to set up and establish this session from the same system. Then our firewall will capture that and determine whether or not that's suspicious. So in stateful firewall is the aware of the established connection, so we can implement the IPsec means IP security functions such as the tunnel and decrypt encryption. And one point is in a stateless firewall known as the access control list, means you have to allow or deny for the every packet because it's every packet is treated as independently. So this is the main difference between the stateless firewall and stateful firewall. Next topic is the threat avoidance and detection system. The firewall is a single component of this. It's a very important component. That's what we are going to focus on this course. Another component might be to help deal with security in our network. For example, AAA and ID management. Now, AAA is not an American Automobile Association. Here is the authentication, authorization, and accounting. Meaning, we are going to create a user. We are going to give those users ID, privileges, and then we are going to record what those users do, and when they do it on our network. This will give us the opportunity to validate authorized user and deny access to unauthorized user. Another component is intrusion detection system or intrusion prevention system. So now IDS or IPS is going to compare each packet of to database of malicious traffic. If the packet going through the IDS or IPS system match rules of malicious traffic or match of signature of malicious traffic, an alert will be sent out to administrator and saying, hey, this is the malicious attack on your network right now. Modern firewall are actually combining the IDS or IPS into the firewall. So we are going to talk about the in detail in the last module of this course. Another component we can add here is the URL filtering. URL filtering are the great for the preventing our internal users from accessing website like pornography or any malicious websites. If we are a business, we are doing the business that is working on customer population, so chance we are going to stop the user from being able to access pornography. But in deeper sense, what we can do, we can use that URL filtering from preventing user to accessing website that have a non-malicious content. Additionally, we can stop people from browsing to torrent site with intents of downloading of movies or software which are illegal. So URL filter have a lot of capability of limiting what website our users can be actually browse. Now our next important component is antivirus virus scanner. So some antivirus feature are also inbuilt in our firewall, but we have to also deploy antivirus in system, host or server as well, as because virus scanning is always important component for a network. We can't always rely on the virus scanner to stop viruses. Virus scanner are medical attempt to prevent viruses. My experience with them is they do much better job of alerting you that there is a virus, and you can detect in your workstation. And last one, most important component is logging. So so we can take logging of all of our device, our AAA device, or our firewall, or our IDS, or our URL filter, virus scanner. We can consolidate all those logs into one system and add them into system that we can get like a same security, same system which actually analyze those logs for us and provide us some information about what actually is happening on our network from security's perspective. For those of these codes, let's just focus on the firewall. Now let's discuss about the next topic. So what is the firewall doing? In order to talk with this topic, we need to set up some vocabulary to talk about the zones. For example, firewall divides a network into two zones. The basic idea is here we have untrusted outside public network. This is, for example, it's internet, and we have a trusted inside local network zone, which would be inside of our home or inside of our business. So here is the two groups, trusted or untrusted. So we use that to make decision how traffic can flow through one zone to another zone, one trusted network to another trusted network, one private network to one public network. Here we have an example. User open his browser and user send HTTP request out to the untrusted network. The untrusted network replies, and what we want is we want our firewall to allow that traffic. We want our firewall to allow user to browse out to Google, and then have a Google send back the website through firewall. What we don't want have happen is have some request, any other request coming from untrusted network to public net or public network to come into firewall. We don't want to allow them. We want that deny. So any other request coming from the untrusted public network, we want deny. The only traffic we won't allow is here the traffic that user request from Google or some other website and allow the back into the firewall. So if we want a user to be able to serve the web or build the TCP session with the device on the internet, but we don't want any device from public network building a TCP session with the users. This is only one half of what we want our firewall to do through, because in the case we want system so that the public internet can't access our internal stuff or any internal system, but our internal user can access the internet. We have another example. If we have a set up a website in our trusted local network behind the firewall, and that website is accessible from the untrusted network, so if any users from untrusted networks able to make HTTP request or website request to our server, we have to allow that request in firewall, and also they will get the response from our web server. So in this case, we actually want a traffic from untrusted public network to get into our trusted network, so that a user can access our website, and if any other user or same user is trying to access non-HTTP request to our server to access our network, so by default non-HTTP request should be blocked when it's come from the untrusted network to trusted networks. Here is the only HTTP request which is coming from the untrusted network to trusted network. If any other non-HTTP request is coming from the public network or untrusted network, so it's by default blocked by firewall. So this is our second example. In this example, we are allowing request HTTP request only from untrusted network to trusted network. Let's talk about our next topic, security zone. Security zone in a firewall line identifies the trustworthiness of a network. All firewall vendors are going to call the security zone something slightly different. For the trusted network side, we often call the inside or internal network or LAN network or LAN zone. For untrusted network, we typically call this network outside or public network or internet or WAN zone. Now we can have a more than just two network here, trusted and untrusted. We actually have these other networks that follow some placed in between, and these are called DMZ network, demilitarized zone network, or perimeter network, which oftenly completely trusted or not completely untrusted. They are some placed in middle. There are some specific module in this course, so that will talk about the DMZ networks and why we use them. About the security policy. Security zone all allow us then to develop a security policy. For example, first we have to create a zone, and then we can apply on security policy on that zone. So it's allow us then create some rule to determine how traffic should be flow from one zone to another zone. So we are going to identify the flow of traffic either from trusted to untrusted or untrusted to trusted. We are going to take the traffic flow, and we are going to apply permit or deny rules for to the flow, so that the traffic that we want allow through our device flow through the device, and the traffic that we don't want to flow through the device gets blocked. We can apply other rules to traffic as well, as like network address translation, which we will talk about in second module of this course. Also difficulty for the FTP traffic or any H.3 traffic. We have we have to apply some rules for that. So we talk about how we apply those rules in separate module. We are going to discuss. So right now we have security zones, and we use those security zones to apply a security policy. Now our topic is desired firewall behavior. So here is we have one example. We have one PC firewall and one web server. So on the left I have a PC. This is going to be the part of our trusted zone, and on the right side we have a outside web server. In this is going to be our untrusted zone. So we have to forward a traffic from trusted to untrusted. So if I am a user on inside PC and I want to browse to the outside web server, I want to send a TCP SYN message to that server, and I want the server to be able to reply to me, and I want it to be able to send the TCP acknowledgement, so we can complete the three-way handshake, and then we can transfer the any information we want. That's what I'm looking for it. So I need that firewall to allow me to send out SYN message and receive SYN acknowledgement back, and then be able to send a TCP acknowledgement out again, and then able to transfer the data over the connection. So what I don't want happen is to have my outside web server send a TCP SYN message into firewall. I want that message to disappear. I want the firewall block that message, because what I don't want is, I don't want outside device building a TCP session from the outside to inside unless I explicitly allow them. So however we are going to accomplish with this TCP state table. This is where the concept of stateful firewall comes into play. The TCP state table we are going to do here is send a message to outside the web server from our inside trusted zone through firewall. So in this case, we are going to record the TCP state and how it's create a session, and how it record the source IP and port, destination IP and port. Then it's also record the TCP state. Here is one example we are going to discuss. In this case, if I want to browse the outside web server, my TCP SYN request message take it brief it stop at firewall, and it record the source IP, destination IP and port, and the current state. The current state is that SYN message has been sent. Once we record that state, we have sent that to the outside web server, and the outside web server can be respond with it within a SYN. So when the SYN comes in from the untrusted zone, by default it's going to block all traffic origin from the outside. However, we want to get this TCP SYN back into our inside network. So we are going to do here is, we are going to take that SYN coming back from outside web server, and we are going to compare it with our TCP state table, and we are expecting this message come back too. Now of course the source and port and destination IP and port, we are going to be flip-flop in our chart to return traffic, but it's all the some basic information. Since the last TCP stage record in the table was SYN sent. So we are going to be looking for and allowing SYN message back from web server, the IP is 172.25.10.100 and on port 80 coming to my inside PC's workstation. Since that's the case, we will then change the state of our TCP in the table and forward that message on the inside PC, and then allow the inside PC then to send a TCP acknowledgement. When the acknowledgement flow through the firewall, here once again it's replace the TCP state with previously it was CNAC, now it's established, and we forward that message on outside network or web server. Now since the state is established, any conversation happening between inside PC and outside web server on the IP address and port listed in our table, all the traffic will be allowed. If the outside web server is trying to send the same message from untrusted zone into firewall, it's going to be denied. There is no rule that say allow same message in here. As a matter of fact, we are explicitly denying all the TCP SYN message. The only TCP SYN message that can flow through a firewall are the ones that flow from trusted zone to untrusted zone, not on the other way around. So this is going to be denied and thrown away. That's how we are using a TCP state table to allow an inside user to browse to internet and get response, but prevent folks out on the internet in our untrusted zone from browsing into our network and accessing internal resources. So we are using a state table to permit or deny traffic based on where the traffic was origin. So this is the example we have discussing from related one PC is accessing the internet or web server from untrusted zone. So in this topic we have discussed about the TCP state table, how it's created and how it's work. We have already discussed about the firewall behavior, and we have already discussed about the firewall how it's operate. By default, firewall always drop a traffic between two different zones. Here we'll talk about the permitted traffic or denied traffic. Permitted traffic, for example, we have always allowed traffic for trusted to untrusted and return. And if we have explicitly allowed for a particular untrusted user to trusted, so it's also in a permitted traffic. And denied traffic, by default, untrusted to trusted traffic always be denied in the firewall. Next chapter we are going to discuss related the network address translation. What is net, dynamic net, static net, port address translation, how it's work in our next module.